Greetings, gardening friends. It is late September, and I just wanted to show you, this is a cutting that I took well over a year and a half ago, and this is the very first flower, which I'm really hoping is Boscobel. And you can see below here, just trying to get in, the actual stem. True root rose. So, like I said, these cuttings were taken, they were calloused in sawdust, a kind of dry, moist sawdust. And this is the first flowering rose that I have, although I have a couple of other cuttings over here, which I'll take you to. And so what I've actually done, here's another cutting, really looking healthy. They've really kind of survived the test of time because I've moved, and since planting these in the soil, they've actually done very well. You can see down there. So I'm not actually sure what flower this is. I didn't mark any of them because my first attempt at these cuttings a few years ago was not good. You actually have some ants on the flower attending to their aphid flock. If you didn't know, ants are actually the only other herders that we know of besides ourselves, and they actually herd their aphid flock because the aphids secrete a sweet serum for them that feeds them, nourishes them. So I'm not actually sure what this is either. So I will obviously get a good indication once they flower to see what type of rose they are. Hopefully I can identify what they are. But this just shows you that if you're patient and if you really want to try your hand at growing roses from cuttings, it is absolutely tangible and it can be done. I've actually planted stock here at the base because ladybugs, as I come to learn accidentally, love living in stock. Stock leaves, stock flowers. This is a single petal purple stock, and ladybugs love stock. And obviously ladybugs love even more aphids. So that just shows you it can be done. A lot of trial and error on my part. I have moved to an extremely arid region of Australia, so I'm in a lot more hotter climate now than what I was when I began the cuttings. And some of my roses have taken, others haven't. This is actually a rose grown from seed, and she's doing quite well. But I just want to come along here and show you some more cuttings that I have taken. This is another cutting. It's doing very well as well. And another one here which was a little bit slow to begin with, but she's come back and has a little flower bud. This is another one from a cutting. And over here, my little garden workspace, I have another box of cuttings, which I'll show you. I'm trying to mimic the environment that I had down when I was living more further south. But you can see this is quite dry on the top, but let me assure you it is moist below. Don't make the mistake of thinking that it's not, because it is, and when your cuttings are too moist they will rot. But because it's getting warm, I've put this cover on, and you can see some roses with some good callus on them. This is a good one. This is another good one. Although I have lost some, which you can see this one here, rotted. Which is a shame because it looked like it had some roots forming on there. But this is how it is. And I've got a few other things growing, apple, plum, peach in here. Trying the sawdust and kind of dry soil mix. It's still quite moist. I may actually give it a bit of a water later, but you can usually tell when the leaves start to flop. They'll want some water, or at least when the skin of the cane itself starts withering or gets wrinkled, as opposed to this one where it's starting to rot. So that's just indicative of too much moisture. So try your hand. Try your hand at it. You may be surprised. Summers here are absolutely scorchers. They would be, if you lived in America, oh goodness gracious. If you lived in America, it would be equivalent to that of Arizona. That's the climate. That's actually a grapevine here, grapevine cutting. So, yeah, very dry climate. But what have you got to lose? Maybe a couple of cuttings. You might be surprised. You may actually be someone who can really be successful at taking cuttings. I was willing to take a gamble and did so. This is a rose actually grown from seed. This is from seed. This is from seed. And this is a cutting. Cutting and cutting. So these, I would not put them in the ground like this unless they had a very good root system, which they do. So it's exciting because I'll get to see for the first time their flowers and work out what's what. I have a pretty good obsession with roses, so I seem to think I can distinguish which is which by smell, shape, foliage, and the rose itself. So we'll see. Bit of a lucky dip.